house and its contents, domestic servants, owners and tenants' legal liability. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
Kupata skiza tune hii, sala ya imani na matumaini, dial *811 *815 #.
Sala ya imani. Mungu wangu na sadiki maneno yote linalosadiki na linalofundisha kanisa Katoliki la Roma. Kwani ndiwe uliofundisha hayo, wala haudanganyiki, wala haudanganyi. Amina. Sala ya matumaini.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya sala ya imani na matumaini, dial *811 *815 *811 *815 #.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shwani yangu. Hii pikipiki ni unakumbuka uliekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako, chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Simujifanya ni washindani. Ngoja siku ifike.
Mimi ni paka mwitu, nitakupa pura.
Ni usiku sasa, matatizo kuna nini?
Mtume! Nilikwambia wacha kuzungumza na mwanamke. She has no respect. Coming to my party. Wataka kunipiga? Nipige.
Kuwa makini sana ule mke wako. Na usivyo tukugarimu.
Mamako mwenyewe. Wewe usiniudhi. Sawa, wewe ulimwona mamangu?
Huwezi kunisaidia? Nenda zako.
To you too. Cheers.
Nani vile?
Kabiru.
Pascal. Kama ni mtihani umefeli. Umetoka.
Inaitwa kujipanga kabla hujapanga.
Namtaka mwanangu Masha.
Kati yako na mimi, ni nani anayemjua babake Masha vizuri? Kumbuka, mimi ni mamake.
Indeed, it's Saturday, the 19th day of June 2021. Good afternoon and welcome to Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Hope you're having a fruitful day. Time for a comprehensive news bulletin right here. My name is Ben Troy Njue. Kindly take me through this so that we may be updated on what is happening currently in the country. And we begin in Thika, where friends, relatives, and also former colleagues and business associates have met so as to send off the late businessman Christopher Kirubi in Thika. Yesterday there was a requiem mass here in Nairobi, Karen, and right now let's listen in to what is happening in Thika.
On this earth. Christopher Kirubi was one of those angels, and his legacy will no doubt take many forms. One form, and perhaps one of the most important forms for all of us as human beings, is the footprints he left on the hearts of others. He was generous and inspiring, and he lived by the words of the great Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "Life's persistent and most urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" Chris Kirubi dedicated his life to doing for others, and I know I can speak for all of us when I say that he will dearly be missed. May you rest in peace, my dear Chairman.
The next tribute is from Jim Kinyani.
Growing up, they used to accuse me of being too possessive of my sisters. So this is another of my sister, Dorcas Ada Kenyany, and this space is for family tribute, and she spent some serious time with my uncle when he was unwell, and you had the thanks. She was in the thanks list yesterday. I'd like to give her an opportunity to say something.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dorcas Ada Kenyany. I'm the daughter of Michael Thomas Kenyany and Elizabeth Waithera Kenyany, who's seated right there. She's the beloved sister of Christopher John Kirubi, and their relationship since my birth has been one of the most admirable brother-sister relationships I've ever encountered. My sister, my mother loved her brother, and her brother loved her back. It has been the biggest privilege of my life for my uncle to ask me to assist him at the time when he got the diagnosis and to travel with him through this journey. I think the best honor that I can give to him is probably a moment of silence. I was fortunate enough to express to him most of the things I would ever want to express.
Indeed, those are just some of the tributes which continue to pour in following the fallen business magnate Christopher Kirubi, who died on Monday and at age 80, and will be buried later on at his farm in Thika. Of course, we have our team on the ground, and we will be bringing you up-to-date information regarding that burial ceremony. From Thika, we go to Migori, where residents of Ragana in Migori County are calling on the government to move with speed and renovate Lichota Cemetery, which is in a pathetic state. Locals claim bodies at the cemetery have been disposed of in shallow graves, attracting hyenas that are exhuming them.
Ragana area of Migori County. One would mistake this for a scene from a horror film. The area littered with body parts and pieces of clothes said to belong to the deceased. Apart from the stench, dusk in this village spells doom for the residents as howling hyenas scavenge on poorly disposed bodies.
Watoto wanakimbia kimbia wakikuja wakisema sisi tunakuwa na waziwazi. Fisi nayo inakuja usiku inalia inatusumbua, inatukimbiza hata hatulali. Tunawaza tu serikali yetu mbona hamtuoni, hamtujali?
Unapata ofisi watu wakishazikwa wapendwa wao, ofisi anaenda nafukua kaburi, akishatoa mfu anaweka juu. Na si mara ya kwanza na ni kila siku.
The area residents fearing for their safety and that of their children who often run into the body parts.
Umbwa zinakimbia nazo, watoto wanaenda wanakimbia huku na huku wakitazama, wakiongea. Sasa tunashangaa sisi kama wazazi. Tuna shida. Jamani, mtusaidie.
Domestic animals such as sheep have not been spared by the hyenas either. The villagers now want the Migori County government to relocate the cemetery or ensure bodies are disposed of properly.
Iangalie njia mbadala ya watu kuzikwa wapendwa wao. Juu pale hakuna security mzuri. Juu wale pia ni wanadamu, inafaa wanahifadhiwa mahali pazuri. Mimi naomba serikali yetu ya Migori ili angalie maneno kama hayo, kama wanaweza kuchimba shimo ndani kabisa karibu futi 5 ndio wazike mtu, inaweza kuwa ni vema katika kaunti yetu ya Migori.
Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Where Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok has urged residents of Bomet to adhere to COVID-19 protocols to avert a devastating spread of COVID-19. Bomet County is among the 13 zone counties which have recorded an exponential rise in the number of COVID-19 infections.
Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok has warned residents that they cannot afford to remain blind to the COVID-19 pandemic. The governor says just like other zoned counties, Bomet risks recording a rise in COVID-19 cases if contained measures are not observed.
The announcement that was done yesterday actually came as a result of requests from all the governors, 14 of them in the Lake region. So it was a proposal through our meeting based on the trend and the numbers that we have been witnessing in the last few weeks. These protocols have been with us for the last 1 year and several months. So what we would only want to request our people that we avoid unnecessary movements outside the county and even outside your village.
Questions have been raised about the effectiveness of containment protocols in the region, even as residents are warned against flouting the life-saving measures. A section of leaders in Kisii County are, however, calling for lighter but effective COVID-19 protocols. This week, the government moved to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the western region by announcing tougher containment measures.
Na tumehakikisha kama makanisa imekuwa ikitekelezwa. So wakati tunaona makanisa inafungwa, eti watu wasije wakakutane kuomba na kumtukuza Mungu wakati wa changamoto, tunaanza kuona kwamba kidogo ni kwamba wale wanaofanya uamuzi kama huu hawako in touch kwa masinani ni nini naendelea katika makanisa. Kwa makanisa ndio watu wameobey. Ukiangalia hizi misambao zilisambazwa kwa political rallies ambazo zilikuwa huko Kisumu na kwingine, lakini kanisani variant haikutoka kwa kanisani kwenda kusambaa western, ilisambazwa na siasa.
Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
And still on matters health, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, is advocating for the formation of a Health Service Commission to address the fragile health sector. Addressing the Kenya Medical Association conference, Muturi called on stakeholders in the sector to robustly begin engagements with departmental health committees in both the National Assembly and Senate assemblies on how the sector can be managed in the country.
The proposal to have a health commission to deal with the management of the health sector has been a thorny issue. Counties are not willing to let go the sector, which has billions of shillings in allocations, but health workforce believe the devolved unit lack capacity to man the sector. The National Assembly Speaker, Justin Muturi, is of the view that the sector be managed by a health commission. Addressing Kenya Medical Association conference, Muturi urged stakeholders in the sector to begin engaging Parliament on the same.
In partnership to the persistent regimen of disputes between the government and healthcare-based trade unions is the formation of a health service commission. Such a commission, with the finger on the pulse on emerging issues and short turnaround time, can cure the situation and bring greater sanity to our healthcare sector.
Speaking separately in Kisii, Kenya Medical Association President Dr. Njue urged the National Assembly Speaker and legislators to ensure prudent enactment of laws that will enable an affordable healthcare system.
I will want to work with the Speaker of Parliament and the Senate and Parliament members so that we can ensure that we have good legislation enacted where it's in the best. The many challenges we face in health, including the human resource for health.
Caroline Kamal reporting for Channel 1 Lunchtime News.
Indeed, watching Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Remember, we are live on all our social media platform. I see on Facebook, Frederick Niton. You're watching KBC News from Matoso in Nyatike. We have Bram Mupalia tuned in from Kajiado. Daka Dave, you're watching from Shauriako in Homa Bay, and also Modi, you're tuned in to Channel 1 at 1 p.m. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more news.
The world has lost half of its wild animals in the past 40 years, according to the World Wildlife Fund. At this rate, the remaining species may become extinct if nothing is done, and in good time.
The mountain bongo is critically endangered, and it's only found in Kenya, with less than 100 individuals existing in their natural habitat.
When we take care of the forest, we are taking care of their habitat, and we are also sustaining the community livelihoods that are achieved through the forest.
Join me, Purity Museo, this Monday and Tuesday at 9 p.m. as we explore how species unique to Kenya are fast disappearing and what efforts are in place to save the situation.
My number one instrument is the guitar. Music is the food of life. Play on. What's your number one?
Malaria ni ugonjwa hatari sana unaoua watu wengi hapa Kenya. Japo kuko na corona, hatari ya malaria bado iko. Mtoto huyu alikuwa na joto jingi, kutetemeka, kuumwa na viungo na uchovu. Alikimbizwa hospitali ya umma ambako sheria za COVID-19 huzingatiwa na ni salama kwa shughuli ya upimaji. Vipimo vilionyesha kuwa ana malaria, na papo hapo daktari akampa dawa za malaria na kumshauri azimalize, na ili kujikinga wawe wakilala ndani ya neti iliyotibiwa. Malaria husambazwa na mbu. Walio hatarini ni watoto wa chini ya miaka 5 na akina mama wajawazito. Kupimwa na kutibiwa ni bure katika hospitali zote za umma. Usisahau adui malaria. Zero malaria huanza na mimi. Chukua jukumu leo. Komesha malaria. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Afya.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shwani yangu. Hii pikipiki ni unakumbuka uniekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako, chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Banki imeconfirm pesa zimeingia. Congratulations Sam, gari ni lako sasa.
Shukran. Oi boss, suniache insurance yako nitumie kabla nijipange.
Insurance ya gari haiwezi kuwa transferred kwa mtu mwingine.
Sina habari na nikuulize, hii comprehensive insurance inakava vitu gani?
Comprehensive Motor Insurance inakava gari linapoharibika wakati wa ajali pamoja na uharibifu wa mali ya mtu mwingine, gari likiibiwa au likichomeka. Pia inakava passenger wa gari lako na passenger wa lile gari lingine kunapotokea ajali.
Kwani umenisahau mimi kama driver?
Dereva hakui covered na comprehensive insurance, ila anajitafutia personal accident cover.
Umenichanua. Rose, hata nishughulikie hiyo insurance, nitakujia gari kesho.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA. IRA, bima bora kwa taifa.
Atakuwa umemuulizia nani vile?
Kabiru.
Pascal, kama ni mtihani umefeli. Umetoka.
Inaitwa kujipanga kabla hujapanga.
Namtaka mwanangu Masha.
Kati yako na mimi, ni nani anayemjua babake Masha vizuri? Kumbuka, mimi ni mamake.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping it Channel 1. Let's now focus on matters politics, where the United Green Movement Party has joined those calling for the shelving of degree requirements for elective positions. The party associated with former Njue MP Agostino Neito claims that academic qualifications are not a measure of leadership.
With opposition to the enforcement of Section 22 of the Elections Act 2011 growing, the United Green Movement has joined the long list of leaders opposed to the requirement. The act, which the IEBC intends to enforce in next year's general election, requires those vying for MP or MCA to have an academic degree. UGM Secretary General Hamisa Malim argues that academic papers should not be used as a yardstick for leadership.
It's important for all leaders to have some level of education. However, we would like to propose a review of the law, that the level of education required for elective posts be a post-secondary school qualification, which could be a certificate course or a diploma, and not mandatory bachelor's degree.
The party wants the requirement scrapped, as it would lock out good candidates from leadership.
You know, that is how to live in utopia. It is good to know that all of us are created equal and we have certain inalienable rights, and part of those rights include civic and political rights, which make us express ourselves as the people of Kenya.
As a party, we will therefore support any efforts to help legalize the legal review to this end.
Deputy President William Ruto has also opposed the requirement and wants Parliament to amend the legislation. Already, Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen has signalled his intention to have a bill that will amend the election law to remove the requirement.
The Constitution, Article 200 of the Constitution, provides for Parliament to make legislation for qualifications of both voters and candidates for all elective positions in Kenya. But Article 38 of the same Constitution says and prohibits any unreasonable restrictions being placed in the way of voters or candidates to be able to vie or vote in any election or referendum.
To sports now, where Spain will face in the Euro 2020 tournament when they take on Poland in a crucial Group E encounter in Sevilla tonight, as where England and Scotland played out a goalless draw at Wembley to leave both countries with their hopes of reaching Euro 2020 knockout stages very much alive.
Spain tactician Luis Enrique must be wondering how his charges could not find the back of the net against Sweden. The Spanish team completely dominated Sweden, missing some opportunities, most notably from Alvaro Morata, which could have given them the maximum points. In the end, Spain could only draw and put themselves in a tricky situation before their game against Poland. A win will certainly help them in their quest to advance to the next round. However, a draw or defeat will dent their hopes before taking on current group leaders, Slovakia. Poland will look to make amends to their opening game, which ended in defeat against Slovakia. Poland's fate will be settled against Spain when they meet, and a win would split Group 1 going into the last round of games. Elsewhere, England and Scotland played out to a goalless draw at Wembley. The first meeting between the two sides in a major tournament since Euro 96 was played out in a typically rowdy atmosphere, despite only 22,500 fans in attendance, and both sides had big opportunities to win. Scotland bounced back from their opening defeat by the Czech Republic at Hampden Park with real resilience and character to back the crucial point. England got their Euro 2020 campaign off to a flying start when they beat Croatia, but the Three Lions were brought back down to earth at Wembley. England are currently placed second in Group D with 4 points after 2 games and face the Czech Republic, who are top on goal difference in the final game on Tuesday.
We've come to the tail end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for keeping me company. Of course, we have more news in our subsequent bulletin, and you can log on to www.kbc.co.ke for this news plus much more. Byron Abuli has been our sign language interpreter for this afternoon. I'm Ben Troy Njue. Do have yourself a blessed afternoon.